And again, because it takes emails, I might have 20 emails in a day for one particular project, but you can just...
You get dogged at the games, huh? Like when you're in another arena? Like if
Only Golden State. Golden State's the best. Golden State's the best. When they beat us in the playoffs a couple years ago, it was pregame, walking, and I love all of it, right? I was walking out to my seat behind the bench pregame, and all of a sudden, the whole place starts going, Cuban sucks. Cuban sucks. And I'm looking around, and I'm going, this is pretty cool. So I gave him one of these, and it was like, Cuban sucks. You know, and I've been...
And you've gotten into it. I've seen you like yell at people.
Oh yeah, I'll have fun with it, you know, because people like be really rude, and like I'd rather have them heckle me than the players.
Sure.
But some of them are just so stupid, or the guys are so drunk, or you know, the women or whatever, and so they're just easy pickings.
But that used to be you when you didn't know the team.
Well, exactly right. I mean,
you used to be a Mavs head. I mean, you were there yelling and screaming.
I was crazy before. I was crazier before I bought the team than after I bought the team.
Right.
But I mean, I remember the first time we were in San Antonio, and I'm hearing everybody go, boo, boo, and your natural inclination is to look up to the jumbotron to see what they're booing.
Right, me.
And there's me going in the picture, and they're like, that's cool. I mean, I can say I've been cheered. I can say I've been booed by 20,000 plus people, and that's high on the resume.
Pretty cool. The fans in Boston
there's a lot of markets where, you know, buy the team, like I can be in New York walking down the street and someone will go, pull off to the side of the road, or a cabbie, you know, buy the team, buy the team, buy the team.
You can't own more than one NBA team.
You can't own more than one.
Absolutely. You can lend me the money to buy the Knicks, though. Okay, next. Oh, sorry. Next question.
So I'll ask the question that paid for my ticket here. So Mark, you've seen two different types of businesses. You've been on the, building the new business side, like a lot of people here. You've also walked into an organization that was deep in the dregs in the Mavs and had to turn that around. Can you talk about what was fulfilling about each type of experience and what kind of challenges you saw?
I mean, what's fulfilling is winning. You know, being able to say, here's where we are, here's where I want to go, I'm willing to put in the effort, and I'm just going to absorb the journey and the destination. It's just, anybody who's an entrepreneur knows the fear, they know the anxiety, they know the joy, they know the ups and downs, you know when you're dreaming about work all the time that, you're right in the mix of it. You know the pain of being able to tell somebody or having to tell somebody in family, you've got to do something related. But when all that comes together, whether it's something you started or something you took over, then you get to see not only in yourself, but all the people around you. Like, the people at the Mavericks who, whether it's fans. I mean, my God, to be able... It's crazy. When you buy a sports team, you learn very, very quickly. You may own it financially, but you don't own it. The community owns it. And when a kid comes and says, you get an email saying, this kid has cancer, he's dying, he's the hugest Mavs fan. Can we get special seating, and can he meet the Mavs? And you set that up, and then 3 weeks later you get an email saying he died, and he got buried in his Dirk jersey. And you see the parents at the game and they can't stop crying, or a kid, that just wants to meet you and sit down and talk to you. And I mean, to be in that position where somebody just thinks of you that highly, or makes you that important in your life or your team or your business, that's incredible. It's just the most incredible feeling, the most rewarding feeling in the world. And, and you start to realize that a sports team bonds families. Grandma can talk, and the Dancing with the Stars were a little bit like that too, but grandma can talk to the daughter, who can talk to the blue-haired 16-year-old son with pierced everything, and the 12-year-old daughter, who's pure as the driven snow, and all these people have something to talk about at the dinner table. And those types of things are rewarding when your employees, like when we sold broadcast, you can say what you will, but out of 330 employees, 300, at least on paper at the time, were millionaires. And that party we went to and the reunion we had was one hell of a party. And to this day, kids that are graduating from college, I'm getting emails and letters and stuff saying thank you because broadcast paid. Or when we sold Micro Solutions, it was for $6 million. We took $1 million of that and paid it out to our 80 employees, which was like a huge bonus to them. It was, just that's a reward when you're able to see people around you succeed, when you're able to connect to people, and you realize it's not me personally, it's everybody else contributing, and being able to see that's amazing.
Another question?
Mark, I edit TechCrunch in the UK. There are many English and European startups who would love to email you their business plan. And that's a great attitude that you've got. And if you're not interested in investing in startups in the UK or in Europe, how can we export your great attitude to Europe?
Mark, M-A-R-K, at hd.net.
Thanks very much.
Email works in Europe now, correct?
It sure does.
They connected
they still have it, right?
They still have it, I think, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yes, hi. Flavio from Zurich. I have a question about you're starting out, getting into a new startup or a new venture. How do you pick a team? What do you look in them, and if you know what you want, how do you find those people?
That's the hardest thing ever. For me, I've always been the driver from a technical perspective, so it's been easier for me to find people who complement me. So, you know, my first company, Micro Solutions, I was always the big picture technical guy. My partner, Martin Woodall, who's still partner in tons of stuff today, and we still work very closely together, he's anal about everything, right? So he was also a programmer, so he could write software with me and be the guy who made sure everything was perfect. Every line of code was perfect. You know, Todd Wagner is the exact opposite of me. So finding somebody you trust and who complements you is important. And then from there, you know, I usually hired people that I already knew that I trusted that were cheap, that I could then train. You know, guys that work at the Mavs that played basketball with, guys who were at Broadcast.com were at Micro Solutions. So I try to find people I trust, that I can work with, that complement my skill set, and believe in what I believe in and believe in the business.
And a lot of young people who you can maybe find some stars and
right.
develop them.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's the reality of life is you're not going to hire somebody my age, you know, because that's the wrong thing to say. I don't want people to say, you ageist, you sexist, you. But the reality is you want people you can hire as inexpensively as possible that have the piss and vinegar that you have, that are willing to put in the hours, that get as excited as you do, and just don't know any better. Because they usually go hand in hand, but have a skill set that complement you. And finding those people isn't hard. You might not like to hear this here, but for me, the worst place ever to find people was Silicon Valley. The worst. You know, because everybody's a legend in their own mind, and they want to talk about the startup and what they were connected to, and who they knew and what they did and what they're. I mean, you go everywhere else, and people actually just want to be part of it and want to learn and be excited as opposed to, you know, just to attach an arrogance to it, if you will. So, you know, staying out of the hot spots like this, I think there's great people everywhere that you can find.
What type of people don't you like to work with? Because you just did a good post on just when some people who work with you or partners or whatever, and they say, like, you just don't get it. And you're just like, you know what? I could tell that was a blog post. You walked out of the meeting and you wrote it like, are you BlackBerry or something?
Yeah.
Does that person who said it know that you wrote the blog post right after?
I have no idea. You know, the people I don't like to work with are people like me. You know,
you can only be
I
one.
only need one of me, right? I need people who can complement my skill set.
Right.
I need people who are just going to dig down and do the nitty gritty with me, right, next to me, as opposed to, you know, I want people who want to be good as opposed to look good. Right. You know, Dallas is known for $100 millionaires, right? I want the people who are going to get with the picks and shovels and get in and get their hands dirty, as opposed to, well, Mark, you know, I have to, you know, I need enough money to buy a suit, or I need to look good, I need my BMW, I need, you know, give me the guy who's got, or girl that's got the beater and who's coming to work in jeans, torn jeans, and I'm happy with it.
Great. Final question.
You've probably had a lot of personal growth throughout your career, and I was just curious if you could tell us what was the biggest change you made in your own life that had the biggest impact on your career?
On my career, or just I've made in my own life?
The biggest impact that made it, the biggest change
on my
you made
career
that
was
had on your
realizing
career.
I'm a terrible employee, getting fired. You know, I worked for a company, Your Business Software. I got fired because I made the executive decision that rather than sweep the floor and clean the windows because it was a retail software store like I was supposed to do, someone wanted me to go out and close a deal with a $1,500 commission, which I did. I thought the boss would recognize that, hey, this is, you know, money in the bank, and he fired me. And that was the best thing career move-wise, and it also made, in dealing with him, I think I learned the most from people who have failed the most, and have learned from my failures in terms of career move. But personal move is just having kids. You know, nothing changes your life like that. And which gets to the heart of, you know what, before you get married, before you get kids, before you have a mortgage, that's the time to go for it. It's not to say that you can't afterwards. I mean, there's been a lot of people who have been very, very, very successful. But, you know, I can't tell you how many girlfriends I had that said, me or your business, and I was like, what's your name? It's just a whole lot easier to do that then.
I think we could just do this Q&A until the party, basically. I'm going to let one more person go because I hate to leave people at the podiums.
Great. Thanks a bunch. I just wanted to ask, you've had obviously a tremendous amount of success in your career, and obviously you're very wealthy and have a really broad range of interests. And I guess that sort of turns into a huge number of opportunities. How do you narrow those down to the ones that you're getting involved in, either by starting up yourself or getting involved with...
You know, it's funny, we had that conversation, had a conversation like that today with one of the folks out there. A rule I used to always have is you can drown an opportunity. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so easy. You know, we all have this aversion to just finishing the work, right? We all want to go to the next bigger, better thing, because once you have the idea, then once you dig into it, it becomes mundane, you know, and then it's just work. You might love it, but you still got to just do the blocking and tackling. So it's always someone has a better idea. And for me, unless I really like it, unless it's really complementary and strategic, then I don't do it. You know, I'm only ever a strategic investor. Somebody brought me something today, said, we think this is a great idea, it's going to do blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, I can't add any value to that. And then Gabe from TechMeme, I've been like running after him for 2 years to try to let me do something with him because I think it's a brilliant idea and I think I can add value. Now, he might think I'm an idiot, but why we haven't done anything. But, you know, I try to stick to things that are strategic to me, that I think are fun, that I think are game-changing because, I mean, there's nothing more fun than like HDNet or the Mavs or, you know, Broadcast or Microsoft where everybody's saying, you're a moron if you do that, and then proving them wrong.
On that note, let's thank Mark Cuban for his time and his honesty. It was awesome.
Enjoyed it, man. Thank you.
Thanks, pal. Oh, that was great.